welcome to my channel. Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoy and subscribe. And you know what comes next. United States of Smash! The bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. So yeah, make sure you're all comfy, you got your headphones on, and let's let the intro take it away. Go on ahead.
Stormy seas, oh, you meant the world to me. Kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to
Thank you very much, intro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to What If Deku Was William Afton's Son, Part 1. So, recently I have been getting into FNAF a lot, but unfortunately, right as I get into FNAF, the creator of FNAF, Scott Cawthon, has retired. It is a very, very sad, thing, and honestly, in some ways, I feel like I'm responsible since I literally just got into FNAF. But I'm sure there's a lot of other people who just got into FNAF. But this is very sad, but all I have to say is thank you, Scott, for giving us such an amazing series, and a series filled to the brim with lore. And just lore after lore after lore. So thank you very much, Scott, and thank you for not getting money hungry like some creators, like cough cough Epic Games. So yeah, and sorry for not posting in a while, guys. Just had some things going on. If you guys want to know why, go check out the video in the description. And yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. So, we are going to start at Deku's birth. So, Deku would be born with a horrible scar on his hand. And the doctors would be absolutely disgusted by it. Inko wouldn't really see anything wrong with it. But almost everyone that would see baby Deku would think about how nasty the scar on his hand is. So, Inko, not wanting her son to be talked about badly anymore, she would start making Deku wear a glove on his right hand to keep people from seeing his scar. So, now we are going to skip 4 years into the future. So, actually, no. 5 years. Yeah, that's better. So, we are going to skip 5 years into the future. So, Deku would be playing with Bakugo, with their All Might figures, when all of a sudden they would hear a scream, and almost the sound of water falling onto the ground. They would both turn towards Bakugo's mother, as they would see his mother being carried off into the car. Bakugo's father would immediately rush for Bakugo and would pick him up and would start carrying him back towards the car. Deku would quickly grab Bakugo's action figure and bring it back to their car before they left, as he would ask where they're going, but Bakugo's father would be too flustered to be able to give an answer, and would just tell him the hospital, as they would drive off. As Michael would walk up to Deku and would ask, "What was that all about?" As Deku would say, "I don't know, they just said they were heading towards the hospital." As all of a sudden, Deku's father would run up to Michael and would tell him what's going on. Michael would become wide-eyed as he would tell Deku we're leaving. As Deku would run over and grab his limited edition All Might figure and would run out. Would run to the car. They would begin driving towards the hospital as they would run up towards the front desk, and Deku's father would begin speaking to the lady at the front desk. Deku couldn't quite tell what they were saying, but it sounded urgent, as she would give them a room number and would give them a key, as they would start heading up towards the room. They would get to the room, and Deku would be told to stay outside. So, Deku would be quite sad, as he wanted to know what was going on, but oh well, as he would walk over towards a chair and would sit down. As Deku would look to his left and would see Bakugo, as he would ask him, "What's going on?" As Bakugo would say, "I don't know, but they aren't letting me see." As Deku would say, "Me neither." As they would both sit there talking. So after 5 hours, Deku would be called into the room, as Bakugo would be called into his room. Deku would walk in to see his little baby brother in his mom's arms, as all of a sudden, the heart rate monitor would flatline, as the doctors would immediately rush in, and Deku would be pushed out of the room once more. Deku would sit down outside, almost scared, and just wanted to see what was going on, but he couldn't. And after 1 hour, Michael would walk out with their baby brother and would allow Deku to see him. Deku would just be astonished by the kid, and he would love him. He would start hugging him, and he would tell his baby brother that he would always be there for him. And that would be true. Deku would protect his baby brother, or his brother, from Michael's tricks or pranks he loved to pull on their younger brother. And Deku loved going to his father's pizzeria. Sorry, that I keep on forgetting pizzeria is what it's called. I keep on wanting to say amusement park, but it's a pizzeria. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Or Freddy Fazbear's, whatever. Back to the story. He would love going to the pizzeria, but William and Michael would never tell Deku what happened to Inko. He just knew that she wasn't there anymore. But Deku wouldn't pay too much mind to it. He just cared about his brother and his family. So, time came around for his little brother's 4th birthday. And William would tell them that they were going to be going to the pizzeria for his birthday, as his younger brother would begin crying as he would ask William if they could go anywhere else. But William would tell him that because of money restraints, they had to go to a place that wouldn't cost much. So Deku would hug his little brother and tell him that he'll be there to keep him safe. So they would be driving there, and they would pick up Michael's friends. Deku had a feeling that they were up to no good, so when they finally pulled up to the pizzeria, and they jumped out and ran into the building, Deku knew that they were going to try something, so he would run after them. His younger brother would begin crying as he was now all alone. Their dad was handling business stuff, and Deku was chasing after Michael. So now, he was alone, with no one but the animatronics. As he would walk into the dining room, or the main stage, whatever you want to call it, and would begin staring at Freddy. As he would hear Deku calling out for Michael, as Deku would be looking all over for Michael. His little brother would want to call out to him, but he was afraid that Freddy was going to hear him and come after him. So he would just sit there, staring at him, till eventually Michael would grab Deku's little brother and would lift him up. I don't want to call him the crying child, but at the same time, he doesn't have an official name, so I'm just calling him Deku's little brother, even though he's also Michael's little brother. But I'm just gonna call him Deku's little brother, as it's easier, I guess. I don't know. So, Michael would grab Deku's little brother and would lift him into the air. He would start squirming and screaming. Deku would hear his little brother screaming and would run towards where they are. He would get to the main stage as he would see Michael and his friends lifting his little brother up towards the Freddy head. Deku, knowing what's about to happen, would scream at them to stop. It's dangerous. He'll die. But Michael wouldn't care, as it'd scare him enough that this would be his best prank yet. As William would walk in with the cake, as he would drop the cake immediately and tell Michael to stop, as they would put his head into the mouth of Freddy, as the Freddy head would clamp down its jaws on his head, as the only sound Deku could hear in that moment were the screams of his little brother, and then silence. The sound of his brother's skull cracking and crumbling as blood would begin flowing out of the Freddy's mouth. Just blood and brain matter would begin spewing out of Freddy's mouth as Michael would drop the lifeless body of his younger brother, as Freddy would open his mouth to give his solo, as he would begin singing. Deku would grab a knife off the nearby table and would start sprinting towards his older brother. Michael would turn to see Deku plunge a knife straight into his stomach, as Deku would begin stabbing him over and over and over, as Michael would drop to the ground in pain, as he would ask his friends for help, but they would just run away. William would drop to the ground screaming, as this was his worst nightmare. His family was falling apart. His sons are murdering each other. Everything's going to hell. Everything's going to hell. As Deku would start screaming at Michael, "Do you like it? Do you like it?" As he would plunge the knife into Michael's eye and would push Michael onto the ground and would begin stabbing his face over and 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 over, till eventually all that was left was a body riddled with knife holes. Deku would snap out of his trance, as if nothing happened. Deku would be completely starstruck at everything that had happened, as Deku would look down at his hands and see blood all over them, as Deku would scream and crawl away from Michael's body. Deku had completely forgotten that he had killed his brother. And honestly, he doesn't believe that he killed him, as he would look at Freddy to see the blood, as he would look at Freddy's feet to see his little brother's eyes staring directly into his. As Deku would scream and would begin running back towards his father, but his father was almost emotionless. He had screamed till his voice box was completely almost unusable. It wouldn't be permanent, but he would have a very nasty sore throat for a while. Deku would hug his father as they would begin hiding the bodies. So for a while, everything would be normal, until one day, Deku would be following one of the animatronics, when all of a sudden, he would walk into a room with 4 kids in it, ready to receive some cake, when the animatronic would shut the door. As the animatronic would begin shredding the suit, till eventually, his dad is all he could see. His dad would pull out a knife and would begin stabbing the kids, as the last kid would crawl into a corner with 3 stab wounds in his chest, as William would walk up to him and would grab him by the throat and would lift him into the air. The kid would start crying for his mom, and then would see Deku and reach his hand out and ask for help, as Deku would hear. William would break the child's neck as he would drop the body onto the ground. Deku would look at, or not Deku, William would look at Deku as he would say, "It's fine. They always come back. They will always come back." As he would walk out of the room. Deku would begin helping his father lure the kids in, as he had nothing left. He was failing in school. He had lost his 2 brothers. He had nothing. Nothing but the sound of screams. That was what he was used to by now. That was what he was born to hear, I guess. As that's the only thing he can hear. So Deku would begin to enjoy the sounds of screams, until eventually William would allow Deku to begin helping him kill people. Not just lure them, but kill them. William would train Deku on the best spots to stab to cause his victims pain, and the best way to strangle people, the best way to torture people. William would train him in those aspects. Till eventually, Deku would be the main one killing. So one day, Bakugo would come in to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria to enjoy his birthday. So Deku, thinking that this was gonna be one of his easiest kills yet, and one of his most enjoyable, would decide that he didn't need help from his father to kill Bakugo. So Deku would lure Bakugo into the back and would lock the door. Bakugo would look at Deku and would begin exploding little explosions in his hands as he would say, "What are you doing, Deku?" As Deku would say, "Oh, it's nothing, Bakugo. It's nothing." Now, by any chance, do you see the cake anywhere in this room? I can't find it. As Bakugo would tell Deku to pull his arm out from behind his back, as Deku would begin smiling a large grin, as he would begin laughing hysterically. Bakugo would begin to be creeped out and would order Deku to open the door. As Deku would charge at Bakugo with his knife and would attempt to stab Bakugo, but Bakugo would unleash his strongest explosion onto Deku, hitting Deku in the chest. The explosion would end up catching fire to one of the walls, as Bakugo would begin exploding Deku over and over, till eventually Deku's face was almost unrecognizable, as Bakugo would quickly open the door and run out, as everyone would notice the fire and would run out. As one of the ashes would land on Deku's clothes and would catch fire, as Deku would begin burning. Deku would be screaming in pain and agony, as he would swear that he would get revenge on Bakugo, as he would scream, "I'll kill you! I will kill you! I will!" As Deku would just begin screaming in utter agony, as Deku could feel his flesh melting and burning off of him. But in this moment of pain, all Deku could think about was his victims, and this made Deku smile. Amidst all of his screaming, Deku's smile would be the most prominent thing. Deku couldn't help but smile. Yes, it's almost poetry. It just repeats itself. As Deku would think to himself, must be karma then. As Deku would begin laughing, as Deku's flesh would be melting. As William would run into the room and grab Deku, and would bring him into his burning workshop, and would begin replacing Deku's injured parts with spare animatronic pieces, till eventually Deku was unrecognizable. He was just another animatronic, with pieces of Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, Chica. He would have all of their parts, but would still be human. His blood would be leaking through the suit, but all he could think about was the pain. As William would be forced to leave Deku in the burning rubble. A few days later, search and rescue teams would find that Bonnie, Freddy, Chica, and Deku would be missing. They couldn't find any of the animatronics, nor the body of Izuku Midori, or Izuku Afton. So, they pronounced Deku missing, and that was the end of it. The establishment burned down, and went out of business. And William Afton would later go missing. Deku would then walk out of the tree line outside of the Bakugo residence, as 3 nightmare animatronics would walk up behind him, as Deku and his robotic voice would say, "I always come back. You will pay, Bakugo." As he would send his nightmare animatronics in to torture his Bakugo's little brother. thank you for watching this What If till the very end. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to United States of Smash the bell icon if you don't want to miss out on part 2 to this What If. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.